All right, how y'all doing? How are y'all doing? I am a mess today. I apologize. I don't even know why I asked y'all what time to do the live if I was gonna show up late. Like, it's a mess. So I was gonna do like, you good? Yeah. Just working. I was going to just do like a sit down story time, y'all, but the way it is, I actually gotta cook dinner. I'm cooking dinner a lot later than what I normally like to cook. So we're just about to mesh it together. But for today's story time, I'm going to talk about the time I went to jail, y'all, twice. Okay, I went to jail twice while I was pregnant. And I just want to preface and say, before I even start talking, like, domestic violence is not funny. You'll probably hear me laughing on some things, and you'll probably even hear my sibling laughing as well, who is a man. But please understand, like, I don't think domestic violence is funny. Now, did I hit him a couple times? Yes, I did. And I will say I was wrong for that. I don't think there's any way to justify putting your hands on another human being. I did learn that later on in life. But if you hear me laughing, a lot of times it's just a mixture of embarrassment, nervousness. And I'm not going to lie and say, like, some of it now is not funny to me in a sense. The situation itself is not funny, but some of it, and I'm not going to talk myself into a problem. Do you use that? Okay, y'all, so we cooking some spaghetti. I'm doing the spaghetti. My brother's doing the fish.
Put this on there.
I would say use a little bit of that. You got lemon pepper seasoning? I do like a little lemon pepper and then do the fish fry, because you know the fish fry itself is seasoned. But anyways.
So should I season them in here with the lemon pepper and the thing, or should I just do it all together and then pour the seasoning on there in here?
I would probably do the seasoning on mine first, and then I put it in the batter.
That's what I'm saying. So use this for the seasoning.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm sorry about that. Say hello if you are here. I would love to say hello. I can't. Let me see.
Ooh.
What's wrong?
You
understand? No need to be embarrassed, and we live and learn. Yes. So let me just start a little bit, okay? So the person that I had my domestic violence with is my youngest three, their dad. So I'm gonna just say we had a very toxic relationship. I've told you guys before, he was a narcissist, and he was a narcissist in true fashion. There was a lot of things that I didn't understand and I didn't know, and that a lot of things that I took from my childhood that I thought was normal. Hey, Kizzy girl. So there was a lot of toxicity that I was raised with. Like, no lie, I want to say maybe a month before I had started dating him. I'll laugh at it now, y'all. It's not funny. So there was a point like where my stepdad had started cheating on my mom, y'all. He was super bold with it, but I've told you guys, like, he was a narcissist. So there would be times like he would literally come home and brag about the women he was cheating on my mom with, right hands to God. He would talk about it, and I know my mama had to hear that, but she would never address him or say anything about it. But I thought it was super disrespectful for him to even be bringing it up to us. So he had been cheating, and one of the nights he had left, right, he had started going to the club. He had suits, really nice suits that he would wear to the club. Long story short, y'all, my mama caught, like, the next day, my mom took all of his suits that he had been wearing to the club, took him outside, and did she pour bleach on him? She bleached all his stuff, y'all. So, was it the next day or that same day Pops found out? It was like, brother, you can speak a little bit. You're not on camera. I think it was that same.
It was that Friday morning. It was that Saturday morning she did it.
So she did it. Like, my brother remembers everything. Okay, so
late Saturday night, early Saturday morning, she did it. It wasn't until Saturday night he found out.
So, oh my, because y'all, these gnats are crazy. So my brother got a few over here too. I do apologize, y'all. I kid you not, y'all. We not nasty. I don't know if everybody get gnats, but it's like every summer, it's like towards August, like the gnats get super crazy. Hey, Davila, I'm happy you made it, girl. So we talking about foolishness. But look, so that next morning, when you said the next morning, it was the next morning, right?
When he found out?
No, it was later that evening.
It was Saturday evening when he found out.
Saturday evening, he finds out what had happened, And he takes all my mama's church wigs, right? Because my mama had a collection of church wigs, y'all. Burnt my mama wigs outside in the backyard. So that's the type of stuff that was just normal. And so, you know, when you are raised in that type of environment, you think that toxicity level is normal. So then when I meet this narcissist who is like it's like way more than what I've ever experienced, I didn't really see the red flags. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. So I didn't realize like a lot of the stuff he was doing was to purposely trigger me. So yes, girl. One of my friends on here did this. Yes, girl. The wigs, yes, ma'am. The church wigs like that, okay, yes. So you want to see it? Hold on, live chats. Okay. And that's the sad part. It's like it was normal for us. So I meet him. We're dating. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I got pregnant real fast. So there was a lot of issues, and I told you guys like I dealt with molestation when I was a child. I was trying to get out of that house quickly. I tried to be cordial, tried to make it work, but it got to a point where he was acting really weird. Like he didn't even want me going out, hanging with friends or stuff like that. He literally just wanted me in the house. And my mom was even like one day was like, okay, she's like a teenager. Like when I was a teenager, I was going out having fun, and he was pretty much like, no. She lives in this house. She needs to be in this house like 7 o'clock. She don't need to be going all these other places, y'all. So I ended up telling a narcissist that. And you already know, like, a narcissist, they love, like, being your savior. So I tell him that. He's like, you know what? You're going to move in with me. We're going to be a family, blah, blah, blah. So I kid you not, y'all. I would say about 4 months of us dating. I want to say we started talking in July. By September, we were living together. So he had got an apartment, and I was very grateful. But like as soon as I moved in the apartment, it's like I started seeing a different side of him. And yeah, I was 19. I was a hot mess. I ain't gonna lie to you. I got pregnant like a month after living there, and it's my fault. Even though I fell for the foolishness, I would tell him I.
Keep your jar behind you and get them scissors for me.
You need scissors?
Yeah.
Oh, you got them? Okay. Oh, it's okay. I go and I'm telling him, I want to use protection, blah, 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 blah. He's like, you can't get pregnant. I've already went to the doctor. Y'all, when I say he put it on his dead grandmama, that he was told by a doctor he could not get anybody pregnant. Like, he couldn't have kids. And so I believed him like a dummy. And I got pregnant. So around the time that he for sure found out I was pregnant, y'all, that's when things kind of got even worse. Like, it went from him like starting arguments here and there to like every day got super chaotic. Some days he wasn't coming home, and it was just a mess. Like, it was just like both of us, for the most part, I was super unhappy. He said he was unhappy, so I was just like, you know what, I just want to leave. But the thing is, every time I tried to leave, it was like a whole, you're tearing up the family. Like, he would just sell me on this, like, we need to stay together. Like, you already, like, why would you go back to that house, blah, 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 blah. And so I really thought that he wanted to stay with me. So I would stay, but then, like, he would be good for, like, maybe a couple days, and then it'd go right back to the foolishness. And so, yeah, I'm trying to keep track of so I'm not bouncing around. About this time, we had been having a lot of problems. So I want to say I'm like, what is this, January? So I am like maybe 4 months pregnant. He's not coming home like at all to like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So it went from him coming in late to like him coming in at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And it was just a whole lot of arguments. Like, it was crazy. He got to a point where like he like wouldn't let me go through his phone. Like, I was very insecure, I will say that. I always, like, a lot of the boys that I had dated at that time, they had been cheaters, and I always found out that they were cheaters by going through their phone. So once he started acting weird, so I went through his phone, right, and I wouldn't say things about cheating, but I would see things like him hanging out with people, or hanging out with people he wasn't supposed to be hanging out with, meaning like they were a bad influence on him. So I feel like in the relationship, I was more like trying to be his mama, but like, you shouldn't be hanging out with that person because, you've already been in jail, you're on probation, you this, that, you're that. Like, I would never ever date another man where I have to tell you to value your life. If you don't value your freedom and you don't value your life on your own, I can't deal with you, because like, you're grown. You should, especially, like, I honestly probably wouldn't even date another guy on probation. I just feel like that's just too much of a headache. I don't have time for it. But I was trying my best to keep him in line, and he would always, you know, give me these sad stories, like, you know, my parents never loved me, which I ended up finding out was a lie. Everything that I said I had been through in my childhood, he literally had been through the same thing. Outside of the molestation, everything else he dealt with, for the most part. So that's what he claimed. I later found out that was just all a lie. Long story short, a day came, we had been arguing that day. He had a friend over, a neighbor. He better all off the papers if he wanted. Exactly, yes. So I remember that day we had been arguing. He had like he's just like one of them people that like try to like get under your skin. And so dealing with a narcissist as a childhood, I grew up with that, with my stepdad always constantly trying to get under my skin. So I kind of was adapt to that. So whenever he would try to get under my skin, I would just like ignore it or just like not pay attention to him. So that day he had been acting real funny. So I was like, you know what? I'm about to go to my mama's house and I'm gonna take my baby. I had control at that time. So I asked him for his phone. I did not have a phone at that time. So he's like, here, you can have it. Y'all, I get in the phone, and let me just say, I have been pregnant for, like I said, 4 months. I'm asking this man, can I please get a meal? Can I please get this? When we go to like Burger King or something like that, like, you know, when you're pregnant, you have cravings. So I'm like, can we please get this? Can we please, like, can I have this? I'm craving this, a meal. He's like, oh no, that's too expensive. $5, y'all, was too expensive. But he's spending $5 to $7 on pills each. And he's buying like 5 to 7 at a time. Like I said, I'm talking about this in another story, y'all. So it's in one of my videos. He did have a pill problem. And I didn't understand the gravity of it at that time. I grew up with an alcoholic father, so I thought that, you know, some people just had to do certain things to be normal. And so I got upset about it, because I'm like, I'm pregnant with your child and you can't even spend $5 or $6 on a meal for me. And here you are in the phone, believe it or not, he is asking, he's asking his ex, can he take her out to eat? Y'all. Baby, look, okay, I'm not justifying my actions at all, okay? But if you've ever been pregnant, you already know your hormones are like out there, okay? It just set me off, okay? At that point, I went in the living room and I threw the phone at him. I would say I threw the phone at him, and I was like, I started going off. I'm like, you know what, you're a liar. You could have just let me leave. Like, every time I try to leave, it's always a problem. But like, here you are trying to talk to somebody else. The audacity of you to be asking another girl, can you take her out to feed her? But I'm asking for meals, and I'm carrying your child and you can't even buy me a meal. So at first he like tried to deny it, and I'm like, I seen it in the phone. Like, you can't. She said, baby, I'm mad for you. I'm pregnant now, so I have a special understanding. Right, exactly. So I was angry, and so I immediately went in my room, and I'm like, you know what? I'm done. Like, I'm leaving. I don't have to deal with this. Like, you can, like, there's no reason for me to be here. You obviously don't want me, so let me leave. About that time, he comes in the room, and at first he's like trying to like sweet talk me, like, you know, it's just a misunderstanding. You know, we've been having problems, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm done. And I kid you not, it's like once he realized I wasn't like trying to hear that, he got nasty. And the thing is, like, I try to tell people all the time, just because like your boyfriend cheats on you, just because he lied, just because he manipulated, that doesn't necessarily make him a narcissist. Like, narcissists hit below the belt. They always take things to the extreme, and that's what differentiates between somebody who is a narcissist, because they have more like evil traits. So I remember him saying, like, you know, nobody's gonna love you, nobody's gonna deal with you, like, you should just be glad that I'm even with you, blah, 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 blah. And that was the beginning of the low blows. Y'all, I went in the kitchen. Like, he's he's not hitting me, right? But he's not allowing me to get past him. So the way our apartment was, is like, pretend like this part is, this is the closet. So it's a long closet, right? Not super long, but it's a closet. On this side is the bathroom. On this side is the, on this side is the room. So he's at the part of the room. So as he's getting nastier, like, I'm like, no, I'm trying to leave. So I immediately go out the back of the bathroom. I go to the living room, and then I go to the kitchen. I get a knife. I know, crazy. I go get a knife. I come back, and I go back into the closet because I'm trying to get my stuff at this point. And I'm like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm gone. Like, if you put your hands on me again and try to stop me, I'm going to catch you. Okay? I know that was a bit extreme. I'm trying to leave, though. It's like I'm trying to leave, so I guess I could have, like, left and, you know, called somebody to come and assist me. But at that time, I just, like, wanted to get my stuff and leave at that point. So it's like I wasn't thinking clearly. I definitely could have handled that situation better. So, when he sees I'm still packing and I'm not reacting to the things he's saying to me, y'all, this man literally tells me, that's why your mom let your dad molest you. Nobody loves you. You're going back to the house for what? He, like, literally was saying stuff like that, y'all. And it's like the crazy was in full throttle at that point. Like, I have never been that angry in my life. And, like, anybody who I've ever shared that to, every time I've ever shared that to, will make you believe. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, I snapped, y'all. And I've never acted like that before. I literally went, it's like I said, I was already in the closet, right? His parents had just bought him, his dad had just taken him shopping to, like, Nashville and got him a whole bunch of expensive stuff. He was a spoiled. So he got a whole bunch of, like, new polo shirts. Y'all, I feel so bad because, like, obviously that was his dad's money. But so evil, just witness no one. Right, exactly. That's what I say, like, it's a level that they're willing to cross to try to hurt you. No accountability, no, like, you know, I shouldn't have done that. It was just, look, let's just move past that, right? And so, when he said that, y'all, I kid y'all not, it was literally like I was just in straight motion. I literally pushed everything that was on this side to this side, and I literally had the knife in my hand, y'all. I was moving just like that. So crazy. He went and tried to stop me, y'all, and I literally, like, lunged, like, took the knife, and I did that, okay? I will admit I did that. And I just continued to just go through the whole thing, and, like, I'm not laughing at what I did. Please understand that. I think, like, he wasn't expecting that level of crazy. Like, he wasn't expecting me to match his toxicity, and it kind of, like, alerted him, like, I feel bad because I know somebody's going to take this and somebody's going to assume that I'm laughing at me abusing somebody. But, like, honestly, when I think of abuse, it's like somebody trying to have power over someone. I never wanted to have power over him. I will say that I was reactive. Like, my anger that I had, that I was feeling, was very reactive. And like I said, what I did was not excusable. But, yeah. I mean, it even still, like, I was wrong for that. I can honestly say I was wrong for that. So, as that's happening, y'all, I go and, like, I'm trying to remember, how did that happen? So he gets the knife from me. Okay, that's exactly, okay, so he gets the knife from me, and then he's, like, trying to get a hold of me. Somehow, I done grabbed one of my heels, and, like, he's trying to run. Y'all, I got this man, and I'm hitting him in the back with the heel, and I have his foot, like, I don't even know how I caught his foot, but he's tucked on my side, and I have a good grip at it, and I am just doing this. He's hopping, trying to get out the house, and I'm just like, I told you to leave me alone. That's like all I kept repeating to him was, I told you to leave me alone. I told you to give me my space. I told you to leave me alone. Like, I begged you to leave me alone. So I'm hitting him as if, like, I'm like, you know, I didn't actually leave. We live in there, we learn into the every day, yes. So by this time, the friend that was in the living room sees this, and he's like, whoa, I'm out. So he leaves. The friend, my ex leaves with him, so he goes out the door, y'all. I lock the door, and at this point, crazy is activated, so I'm literally, like, grabbing other clothes, getting them from the bag, y'all, and I'm throwing some over the balcony, because we were, like, up on, like, the second or third floor, and I'm getting some of them, and I'm putting them in the living room, y'all, and in my mama's fashion, I'm getting the Clorox bleach, and I'm pouring it over his clothes. I'm just like, at this point, like I said, I've never been that angry before, and it was just like a fire had been lit, and it was so hard to put it out. You about to go check on them? Okay, so I ended up going to jail. Now here's the thing, I did not tell them that he had put his hands on me. Did he necessarily like hit me or anything? No, but I remember like once we realized the police were on the way, because I want to say that we weren't in the best apartments anyway, so the police were already over there for something unrelated. And I think one of the guys seen me throwing his stuff over the balcony, and he like went and got the police because he was like, clearly something's off. And so I'll go do that. Oh, I needed it. Okay. Anyways, so I didn't do that. And I mean, he obviously knew something was wrong. So the police came, they asked questions, and I remember when he realized the police were coming, he was like, you know, please do not tell them I did anything, like, I'm gonna get locked up. You can't tell them, like, you have to tell them this is all you, they're not gonna give you anything, like, if something happens, like, they're gonna give you a slap on the wrist, but, you know, I've already been to jail, I don't wanna go to prison, my kid, blah, 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 y'all. So I kid you not, when the police came, I took responsibility for everything. I took responsibility for everything. I made it seem like I just went crazy for no reason. We got into an argument and I just blew up. I didn't tell them everything. Not to say that what he did warranted me putting my hands on him or even using a knife. Honestly, if I was ever in that situation again, I would have just left. Like completely just went out the door or called the police and not cared about if he's going to go to jail or not. Because people that love you are not going to put you in that type of situation in the first place. When I say I need space, you know, you got to respect people. When they say, okay, you know what, I don't want to talk anymore, I don't want to argue. Like, I'm not an argumentative person. Once I realize that we're not going to have an understanding, I don't see the point of us arguing with each other. And he thrived off of arguments. So I wouldn't do that again. Now, fast forward, we get the cord removed, we're back together. You know, things are great, we've moved on. And we moved to another apartment. Now, at that time, there are a group of girls that he used to go to school with that now lives under that apartment. They moved in shortly after we moved in. So, long story short, y'all, same foolishness, different day. He had started talking to them, just doing stuff. And, like, I would notice, like, when I would come, people would be, like, giggling and stuff like that. So, if you're a woman, you already know what that means. Like, unfortunately, you know exactly what that means. If you walk by a group of women, and they're like kikiing and ha ha ha, you know, doing all that stuff, as soon as you walk by, 9 times out of 10, it's some foolishness going on, if it involves a man. So, long story short, I was going to school at that time, y'all. I completely stopped going to school because I felt like I had to watch him. Dumb. Very dumb. I would never be with another man that I feel like I gotta watch you. If I feel like you're cheating, and I don't even honestly, that's why I say I'm so cool with being single now, because I already know my patience with foolishness. You either gonna come correct or, you know, we're not gonna waste any time. Like, I'm not gonna do that. Very dumb of me. You can't force a man to be, you know, if they want to cheat, they're gonna figure out a way. So even though I'm completely taking myself out of school and just to watch him, to make sure he's not cheating, he's still on his phone cheating. He's still doing this. So, very dumb on my part. Please listen. Please learn from that mistake. If you are a young woman, learn from that. You can't force somebody to be faithful. So, say what, brother? If you don't know, then you know. Yes. So, I'm in school. I stopped going to school. And one night, my sister goes into labor. Her firstborn and my secondborn are like a month apart. So I'm like 8 months pregnant, right? And she's going into labor. My mama was not gonna take her, y'all. My sister told her, like, I'm in a lot of pain, I'm feeling like a lot of pressure. My mom's like, go eat an apple, sis, you good. So I ended up having to take her to her appointment. Take her to the hospital. Lo and behold, she is in labor. So I stayed with my sister the entire night. I had control with me, and we stayed with her up until she had the baby. I would say sometime after that, maybe a week or two, he's sleeping in the bed. He's not supposed to go to work that day, so I'm up. He gets a text from a number that's not saved, and I don't know that person. So I answered. I'm like, who is this? Y'all, it's a chick from downstairs that comes over to her friend's house downstairs. So come to find out, he done told this girl that he's gonna give her some money when he gets his check. Y'all, I'm literally not getting, on top of Tashawn, like Tashawn made me super sick when I was pregnant with him. Like, I could not eat and keep anything down for the first 6 months. I literally threw up everything. They had to put me on a medication that was like prednisone or something that would make me go to sleep as soon as I got through eating. Sometimes, for the most part, it did work, but sometimes it didn't. But I was extremely miserable. And then finally, when I am able to eat, I'm wanting to eat. I want to catch up now. You know, I'm hungry. And it's still the same. You know, he would sometimes buy it, but it was more so like if he did something stupid and now he's trying to apologize, then, oh, you can get da-da-da-da-da. So, again, me hearing that he's trying to offer money to this girl who is not carrying his child, who is not in a relationship with him, who, hey, has not been, like, it's just weird. It was so weird to me because, like I said, every time I tried to leave, it was that I'm going to myself, I can't live without you, blah, 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 blah. You know, if you leave me, then it's going to be your fault that, you know, my kids don't have a dad, blah, blah, blah. So I would stay. And this is another time where I snap because I'm like, you could just let me go. Like, just let me go. I will let you see your kids. We don't have to be in a relationship. Just let me go because there's no reason for me to be here if you don't really want me. And again, I let my anger get the best of me, y'all. I came in the house off that balcony from talking to her, went straight in the room when he was laying down. And this one right here, like I said, I should have just left, but I took the air freshener can, y'all, and I'm not even a good thrower. I don't even know where that came from, but I'm not even that coordinated. But that day I was coordinated. I threw it so hard, y'all, it literally cracked the eyebrow open to like the bone. His mama took him to the hospital. And, oh, I'm sorry, I'm clearing my throat. Not get me wrong. It didn't show the whole thing, girl. But it was awful. And that's a part of me where I regret it. I regret allowing someone to. I regret allowing myself to be in a situation where I reacted like that. Because at that time, like especially that second one, he was not in my face. He wasn't doing anything to antagonize me. I think it was just a built up pressure of knowing like I had been trying to leave for months and he's telling me he's going to himself if I leave. And so I'm literally staying there simply because I don't want him to do something to himself. Only to find out that clearly is that's not the situation at all. And so a couple days go by, y'all. And at this time, he's in a full-blown saying what you did was right, but someone who is exploiting your issues. Oh, dang, I can't see it. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Candy Girl, but like I said, for me, myself, it was not worth it. What I got out of it was not worth it. And at that time, I misrepresented who I am because I'm not an abusive person. I'm not physically violent at all. I'd much rather just completely cut you off than put hands on you. And that's how I am with everybody. Like, I don't understand the point in, like, getting to that point. Like, I'd rather just be like, okay, we're done with each other and move on. But he didn't necessarily, I'm not going to say he didn't give me that option, but I feel like when someone tells you, like, I'm going to do this to myself if you leave, and if you're not mentally smart enough to understand that it's manipulation, then I feel like that's just, I don't know. I just feel like that's wrong. So, he didn't call the police. He didn't do any of that. Y'all, he did not call the police until like 2 or 3 days later, and it was because the chick he was messing with, he wanted her to be able to come to the house without it being a problem. So, because I had been coming to the house, we had lived together. So I was staying with a friend, but I would show up randomly, like just randomly with it whenever. And, you know, just to see, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I was on some foolishness. I was waiting to find somebody in my house. And so I would just show up without even like telling him I was coming or anything. So I go to the house the last time, and I had told him that I was going to turn him in because he was doing things he didn't have no business, and he was upset about that or whatever. So fast forward, I go to the house randomly one day. The police are there, and as I'm there, they arrest me. And I'm like, what the heck? Now, I did deny it. I ain't gonna lie, I did deny it that time. I was like, this is ridiculous. I was not planning on. I was there once, girl. It got to the point where I didn't even recognize. Yeah. It was really bad. Now at that time, I told him pretty much, like I just told the officer, like, you know, he just wants me not to be able to come over here because he's, you know, cheating and I'm pregnant and like this is not fair, blah, 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 blah. So they took me to jail, but they did it to where like it just shows that I was arrested and they let me right back out. Like I want to say I didn't even have a bond. Like somebody just had to come and sign, but I didn't have to pay anything to get out. So I get back out and it is what it is. So I did take him back again, y'all. So stupid, so dumb. So dumb. Like, I'm embarrassed to say I took him back, but I did eventually take him back. And that goes without saying that I was on probation from the first vandalism and the first, I want to say it was aggravated assault. So I had only been on probation for 1 month, okay? 1 month. When I violated with the second assault. So that's where it comes into play, the after effect, because he still did his deeds. He still was doing what he wanted to do, but I suffered from my consequences because when I went to try to get a job after I finally left him, I had to let these people know, like, hey, I do have domestic violence on my thing, and you know, it's in the process of being resolved, but it's not. And I didn't get a lot of jobs at all. Not to mention, like, even after I took him back after, I told you guys how I lost my kids to DCS for I want to say like 10 months. During that time, I'm trying to get a job. I'm trying to do everything I can to get my kids back or whatever. And I remember he would just be like messed up on stuff, and then he'd want to argue, he'd want to fight. And it got to a point where I just completely stopped caring about the low blows. Like, there's only so many times you can tell somebody that's why your mom didn't protect you before they become numb to it. It's like, okay, what else do you have? And he literally, every low thing that he could say to me, he had already said it. So it just became to a point where I wouldn't even react to it anymore. And then when he realized that he couldn't make me, you know, act crazy out of in a reaction out of me, then he would be like, well, you know, I'm gonna call the police and I'm gonna say you hit me. So that's another way I paid for that, because I already have it to where in the system where I put my hands on him twice. So he literally could have just called and said she hit me again. And guess what? I'm going to jail. Even if I'm not around him, even if I wasn't anywhere around him, he could easily have just called back then and said that, and then there would have been a warrant out for my arrest. So he definitely used that against me. Would I do it again? No. No. I remember he tried to paint me out to be this vicious person. And honestly, it was just my reactions. You know, you can beat up on somebody. You can, like, talk bad about somebody and like constantly try to trigger them, and then when they finally are triggered, I don't feel like you have a right to be like, oh my gosh, like I don't feel like you have the right to play victim then, because you were trying to get a reaction out of them. And I did not know, like I said, I was not very smart about dating. I didn't understand anything about narcissists. I didn't understand any of those things. So when I was dealing with this stuff, I just kind of I don't know, sometimes I kind of felt like it was my fault. And sometimes I knew it was him, but, you know, if you don't understand relationships and what a healthy relationship is, you don't really understand how to navigate those problems. And on one end, he's giving me the things that I wanted. You know, I'm not having to deal with my stepdad anymore. I'm not living in fear of him anymore. But at the same time, it's like I have a new fear with him. Not as bad as it was when it was with my stepdad, but I still have, like, another fear with him. So I learned a lot. You know, you can't put hands on somebody and think that, like, that's what's gonna, I don't want to say fix things, but, like, you can't crazy a man into being faithful to you. Either he wants to be faithful to you, he wants to commit to you, or he's not going to commit to you. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. If he does not want you like that, he's just not going to want you like that. And I did not know that I was just a placeholder. And I honestly can't even say I was a placeholder, because when you're dealing with a narcissist, I just truly, myself, I don't feel like they're capable of actually loving somebody. Like, really. Yeah, right, girl, because I would never put up with that crap ever again in my life. Like, ever. I just think it's crazy that I even dealt with it that long. It's so unreal. And it's like, I can say that that's not who I am, because even in my relationships after that, like, I dated one guy seriously after him, and he was a much older guy, and he also had an issue where he was messing with a married woman. So he was trying to get this married lady to leave his wife, leave her husband, but he wouldn't. Right, yep. And that's exactly what he did, y'all. It's so crazy because he would literally, look, I kid you not, he would literally beg to come to my house, right? Or like beg to come see me. And then when he would see me, that's when the picking would start. That's when obviously I would find out that he was cheating or messing around. And then that's like when the trying to get me to react, right? And then like, as soon as I would react, people like, you are so crazy. Y'all, I kid you not, like we were living together once, right? This is like maybe our third or fourth apartment together. He's like antagonizing me this one morning. I'm talking about constantly picking with me, everything. If there's like a little crumb on the couch, he's like, oh my gosh, you're so nasty, you're a pig. And I will say, y'all, a lot of times, like, I was not necessarily the cleanest person, simply because, like, cleaning has always been a trigger for me, and I didn't really understand that until I got into therapy. For any of you who do not know, my parents used to literally not feed us and say that the reason why they were not feeding us was because we didn't clean up. Yeah, yep, exactly. So cleaning has always been a struggle for me, like a real struggle for me. And I don't know, maybe I feel like people who have kids are used to kids. They're used to a certain, not necessarily level, they're used to like things not being perfect, versus people who don't have children or have never like not been around children. They're used to everything, you know, being able to keep things crystal clean. And so those, our two worlds collided there. But he was like just literally just picking at me off of the just dumbest stuff. And finally, I can't tell you what he did to make me reactive. I was pregnant with Imari, so you know those hormones, and I just wanted to, you know what? There was so much craziness with Imari, I could probably say, but I'm not going to say it in front of my brother because a lot of it is just inappropriate. But he would do very evil things to me while I was pregnant with him. So a lot of times I was already kind of emotional, but I want to say this morning specifically, I remember he's like acting super angry with me. He's like going off, just being real, just crazy. And finally, I react, right? Now I'm giving him our energy, like I'm matching his energy. I don't like that word, but okay, that's fine. I'll eat it. I match what he's putting out. Y'all, I kid you not, randomly, I'm like, who's that? He gets up, completely changed. It's like he was not even part of the argument. He's literally like, and goes, hey, how you doing? He greets his stepmom. He's like, hey, how you? And like he tries to talk to me, like have a regular, and obviously like I'm not crazy. You just, you know, irritated me. I'm angry still. And I kind of like say something, but I say it kind of smart. He's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting crazy? This, like, I just, I wish you would stop. Like, y'all, my mind could not even process that. Like, I literally just sat there and all like, what just happened? Where are we just arguing? And now you actually, yes, girl, I was just like, are you serious? But again, I didn't understand until like years later where I'm in therapy, and you know, they said it was manipulation and stuff like that. And you know, she never called it narcissism, but like I learned it was narcissism later on. Girl, ain't it? So, and the crazy thing is he always wanted me to be beefing with his parents. Like he would come to me and say stuff about his parents or say things that like his parents said about me. And then he would go to his parents and then twist my words. And so like literally it's like this kind of boulder. Even after he's out of the picture and he's in prison like for years, it's like, you know, it's that boulder right there. And like I'm so grateful to God because like we had this moment where we talked to each other, and the last time they seen the kids, it was like 2 weeks ago, and I was just telling them like, you know, like I'm not trying to be unrealistic. I'm not trying to be, they have a switch that can go from girl, okay, put on a whole show. And I was talking to them, I'm like, you know, I'm not trying to, you know, be a problem for your son or whatever, but I need certain things. What's up? Okay, y'all have been talking to y'all this whole time so y'all wouldn't come together and reveal his yes, exactly. He wanted to play victim there, and then like when he came around me, he wanted to play victim. So like I'm already, and it's weird because like even when he was treating me like crap, I was still trying to protect him. because his childhood was so similar to mine. So I kind of would make excuses for why he acted the way he acted. And it was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Y'all, let me get this meat. I was supposed to be cooking, y'all, and really just been talking the whole time. Clearly, I am not good at cook with me. It's okay if I'm going to be talking. But, yes, it was a whole hot mess. It was. And I learned a few things from that situation. Even when the thing with the DCS, I remember talking to her, and she did not want me with him at all. I think she's seen past the foolishness. Like, he was good at putting that mask on, but she was able to see past that. And so she would always say, like, you know, you don't need to meet with him. You don't need to, you know, blah, blah, blah. She's like, you know, but what does his actions say and all those things. And so she knew that he was full of crap. And I remember her saying, like, you know, I don't even remember how the conversation came up, but I was just like, you know, I told her, I was like, I'm not crazy. I'm not, you know, I'm not an aggressive person. I'd much rather just not engage with people than act crazy. And I was trying to explain to her, and she was like, oh, I can already tell you, like, you're not, you know, an aggressive person. And, you know, violence is obviously not your first, second, or third choice. She said, but you do have the tendency to go crazy when you do go crazy. When you do react. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like to react, because I know I can go to 10 real fast. I can. I feel like it's just from that bottled up, not being able to express myself as a child, not being able to just be myself. And it's like you just, when you get used to living like that, I do feel like you carry around a certain amount of rage with you. Hey. So, yes, it was a hot mess. But she was like, you know, you should not date. If somebody makes you act like that, she said, no, first off, she said, nobody can make you act like that. Like, no one can make you become aggressive or make you physically assault them without your permission. And I was trying to, like, explain to her, like, you know, but you don't understand the arguments, you don't understand the things he says. And she's like, well, if that's the case, if someone makes you act like that, you don't need to be with them. Like, just don't be with them. Obviously, that's not the person for you. Y'all, it's like a light switch just clicked. It was so simple. Like, why am I trying to force myself to be with somebody who makes me act that way, or who I feel like makes me react like in that manner? So that was just like kind of the beginning. Those seeds were being sown, and so I did leave. Now, eventually the case did get dropped. He didn't go to court, and so I was able to, like, in a way, get it removed, like get it nollied, so it wasn't on my thing anymore, which I'm grateful for that. But it definitely taught me an important lesson. Y'all, I don't put my hands on people unless I actually have to. Like, you literally have to be coming up trying to assault my children or trying to assault me. And even then, well, my children, I'm not going to call the folks. But if you come up trying to assault me, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get mace, tased, you know. And, you know, I might have a teenager kick you a couple times. Okay? Introduce them size 13, so let me stop playing. But no, I just, it's a no for me. It's a no. It's a no. I don't hang around ignorant people. Anytime I realize people are like trying to have that toxicity to them where it's like, you know, it's going to be a problem later on, I don't at all. I kick it with Uncle Marcus. I kick it with my brother Pookie here or there. And I go see my other siblings from time to time. But other than that, y'all, I'm pretty much by myself. I'm pretty much by myself. So, yep, that is the story time of how I got my two. Y'all, who goes, like, that's so ghetto. Who goes to jail while they are pregnant? Like, that's why I try to show Sean some grace, because I was wilding while I was pregnant with my baby. Okay, I went to jail twice while I was pregnant with him. So I give him a little grace when he be cutting up, because he was, yeah, it was a mess. But y'all, let me go ahead and get off here behind people. It's easy to, it is, okay. I literally get emails that be like, how are you able to, like, be by yourself? How do you not get lonely? And I'm like, sis, the loneliness isn't the problem, because you can be with somebody and be lonely. I was lonely a lot in relationships. It's not the loneliness. I feel like it's the regret that's harder for me to deal with than actually being lonely. I've gotten to a point where, like, I really enjoy just being by myself. I really enjoy having power over like not having that desperation to need somebody, because I've seen what desperation does to people. I've seen people accept the bare minimum just to say that they have somebody, or they accept just straight up disrespect and being used to say they have somebody. And I can't do that. Like, I can't do that. I feel like my childhood was from the age of 8 until on, like, there was so much foolishness and things that I could not control. And it's like, now that I'm at a point where I can control who's in my life, who has access to me, who has an effect over my life, it's like, why would I? Does that mean that I don't? Does that mean that I wouldn't like having somebody? Yes, I would love. No, it doesn't mean that. I would love to have like a partner one day, but at the same time, I understand that like I have a lot more healing to do, and so that's why I'm not rushing to get to somebody. Once I get to a point where, one, I'm financially stable and I have my own and I can take care of my kids the way I want to take care of them by myself, and my relationship with God is where I really want it to be, then I would be open. Right, girl? Okay, for real. I appreciate that, but yes, I've definitely grown. Y'all, I tried to find some pictures. I tried to find some pictures and I couldn't find them. But then again, I was like, I'm glad I didn't find them, because had I posted them, somebody would have went and tried to find out my real name. And I ain't trying to deal with that right now. Eventually, I know it's going to come out. Eventually, you know, where I live and all those things will come out. But like, I would rather that not come out while I'm in the projects. Like, I just don't think that's a safe place to be exposing myself. I'd much rather be in a much nicer neighborhood around people with stuff to lose, and in a neighborhood where, you know, I got a couple Karens that don't mind calling the folks if some foolishness pop off. Okay. But yes, it was a hot mess, y'all. Did y'all have any questions or anything before I hop off? Your brother's girl, he's snagging. Look. Thank you. Yes, the village. Yes. You know what? Because I've dealt with some crazy people. I feel like because, and I don't even know how to. They said you was hungry. Because, let me see. Yes, I feel like because let me go back. I literally lost my train of thought, y'all. Oh yes. Okay. So I don't know what it is. A lot of people like call it being an empath. A lot of people call it being an empath. It's like I literally attract some of the most vicious people. Right? Exactly. Yes, Kizzy. Yes, thank you for that. Yes, I'm definitely not the same woman at all. But for some reason, when I was open to trying to have friends, I literally just would attract some of the most vicious people who really weren't trying to be my friend. I only have one story time before, but if you go back, I'll post it. If you give me a second, I'll post I got one for DCS. It's 2 parts. And then I got a couple in the beginning, like when I first started making my channel. And that's another thing. I got to get back to like what I was doing before, because I think I tried to like be a YouTuber about it versus doing what I really wanted to do. And that was just to tell my story, get my story out, to help people, because a lot of people don't know these things. Like, I was not taught how to date. I was not taught how to do those things. I was not taught how to, you know, what to look for, or what was normal, what was not normal. So I think that helps people who don't know that, or people who have grown up in toxicity. You know, it helps them out. But I attracted a lot of just people who just like to take advantage. I remember I had befriended this one girl at work. Tell it, yes, tell it, because somebody's always listening. You don't know who it will affect. But I had met this one girl at work, y'all, and I swear this girl was my friend. We were like always just super cool, just vibing, and like that's one of my issues. Like, I would tell my business to people, like as soon as I met them. Like, trauma dump is ridiculous. That's my fault. And they would act like, you know, oh, you know, the ones who I didn't scare away, the other ones would be like, okay, cool. And I didn't know that they were like literally clocking me so that they could. Oh, thank you, Kenny girl. Okay, yes indeed, girl. I will definitely. That's the thing. I don't necessarily know what age to market to, because I don't know who's like watching. A lot of times when I check my analytics, it shows people who are like around my age, maybe like 25 and up, and then like older. So, you know, I try to market like that, but I am going to make a couple of videos for teens. I've actually had, well, actually I ain't going to bring that up, but, you know, this girl that I was talking about, y'all. So I was telling her about stuff I was going through, and she acted like she was a real nice person. And one day she randomly shows up, right? Well, let me even go before that. One day she randomly asked, can she take, like, do I want to go out to eat with her and her husband or her boyfriend or whatever? And so I was like, yeah, sure. So we went out, we had a good time. But when I got there, the energy was like super weird. She wasn't like super friendly like she normally is. Like, you know how like when you are with your girls, it's like, oh, no. It was like, it was none of that, y'all. It was like super serious. Her husband looked like she was upset. Like he was upset. And I was just like, okay. So I ate my food, right? Went home. And we hung out a few times after that where I'm just like riding with them or going somewhere. And one day she randomly shows up at my house unannounced without telling me anything. And like I let her in, even though my house, like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, my house was looking crazy. The amount of have you ever seen those houses where people come? Yes, I'm gonna have to go back and read it. But have you ever seen them houses on YouTube where it's like they clean the person's house for free because they, you know, deal with something? I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, like, as ashamed as I am, that's how my house used to be. I would literally do enough to clean my kids, keep their area clean. They'd have clean clothes, and like everything else would be a crazy hot mess. The bathroom would be semi-clean, but everything else would be a semi-hot mess. So that's embarrassing. Like, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't know I was dealing with PTSD at that time. Like, I didn't know why when I went to go clean, I was like spaced out. Like, I would literally like go and like try to do dishes. And as I'm doing the dishes, it was like my mind would literally, like, I'm back in my mama's house. And I'm like, that fear that I would have, like, I can't even talk about it without like that fear I would have, it would literally come back. And I didn't understand that. I didn't understand it at all. And so I wasn't cleaning a lot like I was supposed to. And so I let this girl, I need a minute. Seriously, woo. Gotta count it down. Tell me a funny joke, brother. It's literally 8:04, and you talking about getting close to 9. Do you have a knife? I need a knife. Y'all, I'm cooking at my brother's house, but I let her come in my house, and she came in and she looked around and she was like, "Oh, it's okay." And like it was just, "Oh, okay, ninja man." You wanna wash your hands?
All I did was post the screen.
Ooh. Okay, I need to wash mine. Hold on, y'all. I'm super sorry. I'm supposed to be cooking, and I just been talking. This reminds me of my mama, y'all. She get to talking and she ain't gonna do nothing she said she was gonna do. Where's the? Okay, the ones in the dishwasher are clean.
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. Just
Let me get the. All right, y'all. I got about to season with some spaghetti seasoning. Let me turn this on too. Are you okay? Oh no, I do not like gnats over food. No, indeed, we do not play. Okay, that's fine. I have to check. But anyway, she came over. And she walked through the house. And the way she came over, it kind of made me feel like I was like being judged. And I was like, oh no, I'm gonna clean it up. Oh, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna go get that, right? And she went through the house, like just in the living room. And where is it? She went to the living room and the kitchen, and she went out on the back deck. And so I kind of felt stupid for letting her come in, because I don't know. A lot of times, like, you can tell how somebody really feel, like, in certain situations. And I just felt kind of weird. She was telling me with her mouth that, oh, like, you're good, you're okay. And I was like, I'm going to clean up. Y'all, so the very next day, I kid you not, she came back over unannounced. Like, she literally just came through the house, did a walkthrough, and then, like, she left. And you got garlic powder, good, because I cannot find my garlic powder. Do you have garlic salt? Okay.
garlic salt.
Okay, yep, that's good. So, yeah, she came back the very next day unannounced, didn't say anything about she coming or nothing. And like I was like weirded out. Like at that time I was like, she was like, oh, I just stopped by to see how you were doing, blah blah blah. Came in, obviously my house looked crazy still. Actually, I think that's the day where I was like trying to come up with excuses. The first day she came through, even though I felt like it was weird, I kind of just accepted it. But like the second day, that's the day I was giving excuses, and then she just like left again abruptly, like didn't stay, didn't chill or nothing. And I ain't gonna lie, like I was dumb because I didn't understand. The next day, well, not the next day, I would say like maybe a couple days later. She calls me random. She's like, hey, how you doing? You know, and I'm like, oh, I'm good. You know, just chilling with the kids. She's like, did you clean up your house? I was like, that's a weird question to ask. I was like, what do you mean? Have I cleaned up my house? I just said, yeah. But like after that, y'all, I was like, nah, something's off. Something is off. So that's like the type of people I attract in real life. That's why I just kind of stopped trying to even befriend people. Because people just be doing too much. It's like people like to take advantage of like whatever you're going through. Like if you're dealing with something, or if like you don't have it all together, they really will try to take advantage of it. Like try to, I don't even understand why though. I can't even explain to you why like somebody would do that. Please don't judge me for how much seasoning I'm using. Normally I try to edit it out so that y'all don't see, because I know some people be like, that's too much. Or some people be like, that's not enough. So I usually just edit it. But I'm probably going to put a little bit more in there. I just don't want to get too heavy-handed with it. But yeah, that's why I just chill by myself. I just keep it. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know. For one, I'm introverted. So it's like I probably could have a decent friends. Like there's no doubt in my mind there's decent people that I have access to. I'll be so scared to season, because people, anytime you like go to a cooking video, people be like, oh my gosh, too much salt. But I do try to watch my salt, because my mom had health problems like super early. She had health problems like in her 30s. She was having heart attacks and strokes, and she passed away unfortunately at 46, which is young. I didn't realize how young that was until I started getting a little bit older. 46 is young. So I do try to, you know, watch my salt intake a little bit. But brother, I feel like this, oh, okay, it's cooking, y'all. I'm used to my little gas stove. My gas stove does not be playing around, but this is turkey. This is turkey ground beef, right?
Ground turkey.
Ground turkey. Why am I talking about some turkey ground beef? Ooh, goodness. But yes, so I guess this cooks a little bit different. I'm sorry, brother, I didn't got to talking. I'm supposed to have been done cleaning. Been done cooking. But y'all, let me go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to go through and check y'all comments. Yeah, and that's the thing, like I used to be embarrassed about not having like close friends, and so I would deal with people that were not the best of people just to say I had friends, and those days are over. Wow, Cassandra, that's crazy. Stole your identity. Yeah, Kenny girl, yeah. I think it's important. I think the first thing I had to do was acknowledge that there was a problem for the healing. Because a lot of us, we walk through life and we're like, you know, we try to put on our strong hat and like pretend that like we're super okay. And things, you know, that scarred us didn't hurt us that bad. And it was hard for me to get to a point where I could even say that hurt. And any goodness in us, amen. That's why you come across some people who are the worst and others aren't. Yep. Yep. Thank you, Candy girl. Yes, indeed. All right, Cassandra girl, you be blessed. Yes. Yep. Yeah, and it's crazy. You know, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I have noticed like a lot of people who somewhat have a relationship with Christ. You obviously gonna have some of those that are a little extra, that do too much, that really like are too caught up in their own righteousness or what they think they are. But for the most people, that's like usually be the decent group. I've met some people who aren't, but For the most part, that's why I think that's where my chill spot is. I'm pretty sure my husband gonna be Christian. Pretty sure whatever tribe the guy got me for, like to heaven, they're gonna be Christian. It's not that I'm against non-Christians at all. I literally can kick it with anybody, any age group, any race, whatever. As long as you're not disrespectful, I'm not disrespectful. I mean, honestly, I ain't gonna be disrespectful regardless. I'm just gonna remove myself, you know, from the situation. But that's usually who I have some of the best conversations with. Cause I can't talk about worldly stuff. I don't know about the world. I can't tell you who's the coolest person to listen to. I can't tell you too much about TV. I can't tell you about anything, honey. But you want to talk about Peter? Okay, I can talk about that. You want to talk about you know, Samson, or talk about you? Like, I can talk about that. I can talk about mom life. I can talk about, you know, dreams, ambitions, all those things. Right? Okay, girl, you got to be equally yoked. I have learned it's so much better. And that's another thing that has, like, helped me, like, just get to a point where I can trust God. Because, like, I kid you not, like, before I start making really crazy decisions, I remember feeling like, you know, I've been raised Christian. I should probably keep to this. But I was like, nah. Threw it all out. I threw it all out. I threw it all out. Like, literally all of it. So I moved, yeah. And I messed it up. So now I'm, like, way more obedient. I'm like, I ain't about to, you know, do too much. Because clearly I don't know what I be doing. So I'm going to just listen to what God say and move accordingly. Anything else is a little too much for me. Costs too much. Too much peace, too much money, too much time. I don't play about those. My peace, my money, and my time? No. Oh, brother, this does not even have a lot of grease. This is actually pretty good. I might use this.
The lean version.
This is the lean one?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it doesn't cook as fast as ground beef, but it's cooking. I do apologize. If you want to go, like, take a shower, by the time you get out the shower, the food should be done.
If I take a shower, I'm going to sleep.
Okay, all right, y'all. Well, I'm about to go ahead and get up off of here. I thank y'all so much for coming to chill with me. I appreciate it. I hope, you know, maybe you learned some, maybe you didn't learn some, maybe something got confirmed for you, or maybe it was just a good little story time. I'm gonna try to work on my story down. So I'm gonna try to work on being here on time for y'all, because I say one time and then end up being late. So I gotta work on that, y'all. Do not like being late, but I will see y'all. Y'all be blessed.